Hi, this is Team 6 from Wednesday, and this is the agenda for our video. First, we'll be starting with the research question, then continue with our survey data. Third are the limitations of our research, and fourth, we're concluding with the big findings for our research.
After receiving responses from the survey, given the data we have, our group decides to find out whether there's a connection between being in a romantic relationship and being social or not. This topic is significant because it raises awareness about different types of relationships in our life and thus gains understanding about people's behaviors. Our null hypothesis is that there's no link between being in romantic relationships and their degree of being social. The alternative hypothesis is the people in relationships are less social than the single people on campus. And another working hypothesis is the people in relationships are more social than the single people on campus. The knowledge about the human network, particularly the concept of homophily, helps us take into account several confounding variables that might make the data noise, such as the nature of the course the respondents take. The number of friends before and after being in a relationship might not change. Since this is not a longitudinal research, we do not have enough data to know about this. Knowledge about statistics gives us the measures to conduct the research, as well as points out the possibility our data could be biased. All of that is performed on the Colab platform, which allows the procedure of synthesizing and analyzing data to be more accurate and more professional. In order to know which statistic we have to use in this project, we have to test if data is normal distribution. We use box plot to know the mean, max, min of each data and draw a diagram for each data. After testing all questions, we see that all data is non-normal distribution. Bandwidth AU test is used to test the difference between each pair type of relationship in each question. After that, we use the Grosco-Wallis test to test the difference between three types of relationship in each question to have an overview. Each statistics test we use will return p-value. Based on p-value, we can decide if we reject the null hypothesis or not by comparing it with 0.05. If it is larger than 0.05, we cannot reject the null hypothesis, and if it is smaller than 0.05, we can reject the null hypothesis. Despite this, we believe there are limitations in every survey question and in the quality of the responses as well. Firstly, since for every question there are a long list of students to pick from, there is no guarantee that a person will select everyone they socialize with. Thus, the incomplete data would affect the accuracy of the statistics and on the overall analysis. Moreover, although each question provides meaningful information, each also has limitations, making them inadequate to draw the correlation between relationship status and the social network. For instance, when looking at the number of friends a person has on Facebook, this number can vary based on the number of activities they have participated in or the scope of student participation in their previous schools or institutions. Thus, this is a confounding variable that goes beyond our knowledge for this question. It is also impossible to know the number of friends they actually communicate with out of the amount of friends they added on Facebook. To have this variable as part of our research, we had to assume that a person only adds friends who they socialize with on Facebook, and the more friends they have on Facebook means the more social they are. In a sense, the question "how many friends do you have on Facebook" alone would be insufficient and inaccurate to learn about a person's close social network. Due to this, questions that seek for the group of people who they interact and socialize with on social platforms would be better. Furthermore, the data is also inadequate because it ignores the network a person has outside of Fulbright community. Once again, since the missing value could include substantial information about a person's network and how social they are, data incompleteness would affect the accuracy of our final analysis and conclusion. We find that the number of clubs and the number of Facebook friends are not different between people in a romantic relationship and not. In the number of friends we study with, we only see one difference. That is, the people in complicated relationships study with fewer friends than people who are not in any romantic relationships. The most interesting finding is that there exist differences in the number of socializing friends of each relationship type. People not in relationships have the largest socializing friends. People in romantic relationships are second, and in complicated relationships have fewest friends to socialize with. This research gains insights about Fulbright students' behaviors and gives way for further investigations which interest in the psychology of being in romantic relationships. This result also helps exclude the assumption that romantic relationships hinder other social relationships. Therefore, researchers could look beyond this factor and dive deep into other aspects to explain students' degree of socializing.